Okay, the workspace. Hmm. People go there to earn livelihood, pay off their EMIs, ironically, pay off the loans that they took with their loved ones. So, where have things come now? And legally, let's say there's an act for this that on papers, one cannot have quote unquote some sexual pretenses. But if a person is getting his or her benefit, I don't know why then laws don't apply because it's if things go haywire, then people are the first to jump at the gun. Of course, one should speak when injustice is happening, but lots of people exist. Some just sleep to increase their career growth and prospects. So this is weird. I think the center again, which I come back to my core message, the center on which we base or establish our life, it's either it's the center of compassion, love, or the center of greed. That would just determine all our choices. Guys, namaskar. I'm back with another reaction. So let me just share my screen. One of my viewers had shared this with me. So let us see that. Okay. So hopefully we can see this. Let me do full screen. Okay. 1.5x. Okay, interesting. Let's see.
3 in 5 men and 4 in 5 women believe that cheating isn't a sin. 89% of corporate employees in Mumbai city reported attending such parties purely to seek physical comfort from the opposite sex. Affairs were the third biggest reason behind murders in India. You go to work to make money, but if you're working in 2025 India, you go to work to cheat on your partner.
Yeah, that's true. Probably we see a lot of cases happening these days wherein you see all these cases of partners cheating on each other, having love affairs. I think there's a predominant term for it. I don't know, work wife, work husband. Maybe that's something related to it or completely different. But yeah, let's keep watching.
Look at this app Gliden. It has 3.5 million users in India, making the country its largest market. Built and operated entirely by women, it has one purpose: helping people cheat on their partners.
Okay. I again fail to understand that if we have all the resources, all the intelligence in the world, why are we so hell bent on sometimes destroying, you can say, marriages and things like that? However, I don't know, like, do these people have an agreement that only, let's say, married couples can sign up on their platform? What about teenagers who might have this impression that we'll have, like, those fantasies, a good someone else's wife and things like that? So I don't know what's the credibility of this data, but anyhow.
There's another cheating dating app like this called Ashley Madison. Of the 52 countries that they operate in, they found that India had the highest instances of cheating at 53%. Keep in mind, this app openly
Okay, 53%. I'll just assume this data to be true. 53%, that means half, actually more than half people would want to cheat. Life is short, have an affair. I don't know, like, is this too much, like, let's say too much independence, my body, my choice, and things like that? Because the psychological literature on having a high body count as to how it ruins long term relationship building is very clear. So I don't know, like, where have we gone down that the hedonistic pleasures, the short term pleasures, are something that we just want to prioritize. So
launched a tagline that says, "Life is short, have an affair." So these people didn't unknowingly download it. And one of the biggest contributing factors to this downfall of Indian society is the workspace. Let's dissect it, as always, with the help of data and evidence.
okay, the workspace. People go there to earn livelihood, pay off their EMIs, ironically, pay off the loans that they took with their loved ones. So, where have things come now?
Recently, a guy asked my friend out on a date. He was her senior at work, twice her age, with two kids who were almost her age. I gasped at how horrible this was, but it wasn't an isolated incident. Economic Times reported that in India, 1 in 3 people admitted to.
Okay. And these people would tell you about morals, having the right people, like, these type of boomer uncles and things like that. So I find that weird. 36% of workers have dated someone. I've also seen that some people find their partners, let's say single people. That's a different thing. But If one is already in a relationship, let's say married, quote unquote, and then they're coming to this is weird because they're then ruining the lives of their other half and also not being honest to themselves. That's why I don't have very major apprehensions about marriage in general.
cheating at the workplace. And what's even more shocking is that 1 in 2 people have dated their boss. 2 in 3 people have dated someone in a higher
And legally, let's say there's an act for this that on papers one cannot have quote unquote some sexual pretenses. But if a person is getting his or her benefit, I don't know why then laws don't apply. Because let's say if things go haywire, then people are the first to jump at the gun. Of course, one should speak when injustice is happening, but lots of people exist. Some just sleep to increase their career growth and prospects. So this is weird. I think the center again, which I come back to my core message, the center on which we base or establish our life. It's either it's the center of compassion, love, or the center of greed. That would just determine all our choices.
position than them. Some of them even got ahead in their careers because of this.
Yeah,
But anyway, more on
that's
that
what I
later.
was
This
saying.
survey studied 1,000 people across industries, and 10 years later, when a similar survey was conducted, the 1 in 3 figure was consistent. Weird. Our roads have gotten worse, but the cheating hasn't stopped. But jokes aside, the question is why
Yeah, I think they can just bond over how bad roads are, and I don't know, like just weird things.
now? Hasn't humanity evolved and gotten better over time? Why is it that suddenly
Not necessarily. It again depends on an individual choice. Let's say if a person wants to make him or herself better, so that's
loyalty, which is supposed to be a bare minimum, feels too expensive? Think about it. After the pandemic, there was a huge social media boom, and I like to call it the great shallowing. We switched to dating apps and Instagram to find love and make connections. We were seeing the most attractive people here, the flashiest of lifestyles. As a result, our expectations from love and life turned extremely shallow. And when you combine this shallowness with what's happening in Indian society and Indian workplaces at the moment, the result is very, very disturbing.
I think shallow in that sense because on social media everyone fakes it, and on a corporate level also I think there's this sense which overlaps with social media that everyone fakes how perfect it is. So there can be a lot of parallels. That's why a lot of corporate workers feel stressed, not happy with their lives. The same, like when we are living a dualistic life on social media, I think a similar trend can be observed. Though I don't know if there are any studies to it or not, but yeah, that's just an insight that came into my mind.
Work, for instance, we are locked up away from our loved ones in a high stress environments because we've got CEOs who say weekends are Western imports.
Yeah,
Work
this
life
is again a idiotic thing. So I had made a video on this, reacting, I think, on my Hindi channel, so you can also check that out. But these people just want to maximize their own profits rather than just seeing what is practically and feasibly possible. To be honest, I think they can only do such in like in our country where labor laws are not so tight because let's say if you go to Western countries, these are like strict rules and policies around certain things.
balance is stupid. Everyone must work 70 hours a week. What these CEOs conveniently ignore is that they have equity in the company. They benefit from working 70 hours a week and hence enjoy it. The average employee, on the other hand, is doing this for a salary. They're burnt out, they hate their jobs, and there's nothing of substance that this work could get them. Now,
I
there's
think that's why it's also very important. Please find some work that speaks to your heart. At least you'll have something to look forward to because I've also seen that a lot of people sometimes fear quitting jobs, let's say due to BMIs and things like that. That's different. But let's say if you're seeing they're like toxic bosses, it's taking an effect on your health. You're getting symptoms. A lot of people are dying because of early heart attacks. So you need to make choices because life is the most precious gift above all.
obviously going to be a CEO apologist who would say that you all have become lazy, okay, you should work hard. But there's data to back up everything I'm saying. The ILO reported that India is one of the most overworked nations in the world,
I
where
think
more than
not even
half the population
49 plus hours, it's close to 60, 70 hours in general. That's 12 hours every day, 5 or 60 working days.
works for an average 9.6 hours
Yeah,
a day.
10
Moreover,
hours,
public transport is so bad that the average Indian spends an hour commuting to work one way
12 hours,
every single
2
day.
hours.
So riddle me this. What do you think happens when we take a lonely person, overwork them, underpay them, and keep them in a terrible environment that they despise?
Yeah, I think this overwork, underpaying is a very brutal culture because of our sheer population. And that's like the biggest problem. People cannot have control over their basal animalistic instincts.
away from their partners for 12 out of the 24 hours a day. We get a breeding ground for office affairs. Now, what I'm about to tell you is shocking. But if you learned something new up until this point, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free for you, but it keeps us insanely motivated. While cheating isn't justified at all, wanting to find connection is only natural. And corporations love to say we are a family. And this culture starts replacing your real one. You share birthdays, offsites, parties, drinks, deadlines with these people, and that becomes your only source of validation. After the social media boom, loneliness and dopamine addiction were at an all-time high. So we see
Yeah, and I think a good rule to have in life in general is to just have clear boundaries as to what is it that defines my work and what is it that does not define my work. Because all of us know that when are those lines being blurred, let's say if you're in marriages, relationships, then it's an individual choice. And then, like in the long term, you just have to stay with your own self. So that's very important.
them wherever we can. And you remember I said many Indians
Like you're not a teenager who can go on cheating and I don't know, like in your early 20s when you're trying to figure out life and you've taken up responsibility, there's a certain level of maturity that is expected. Like, and married uncle for that matter, quote unquote, ideally speaking, would not be expected to go and cheat on his wife with some random person. And same goes vice versa on the other end, that a married woman would not be expected to cheat. But that is how this is unfortunately going.
were cheating on their partners with their superiors. Turns out that helps you get ahead in your career. In India, this is a win-win. A research firm called Sinovate conducted a survey which found that more than half the people who were cheating on their partners in a corporate setting were doing it with their bosses and admitted that it helped them get ahead in their careers. And
See, that's what it is, the center on which you operate. I don't know, that's again trading your self respect, self esteem for some petty little money because a lot of other practices also exist in the corporate which are pretty weird. But maybe a separate video can be done about them.
sadly, in India right now, promotions are the only way to upgrade your lifestyle. Increments don't mean There's data to prove
And I think people in general want to also increase their lifestyle. That's why there's this heavy thing of getting promotions at the quickest way because we compare ourselves when we see on social media that how other people are living and we want to get there as fast as possible rather than having a long term view that okay, these are the type of skills that I can build for the long term. I don't know, this whole culture of getting quick success and all of that, it's always like keep questioning that what are the metrics that I'm feeling right now? Is it because of an intrinsic motivation, that is that are they coming internally, or am I like picking up all these things, these goals and milestones in life just because seeing other people? That's also very important and a good reflective question.
this. Corporate profits grew 4 times in the past 4 years, but wages remained stagnant. We're always seeing people on Instagram have amazing lives. They have
Yeah,
fancy
this is the
vacations,
core reason. Ideally, you should just delete this app.
flashy cars. We all want that, right? But how can we have that with a meager 3% increment? Almost half of Indians aren't even able to save enough to have an adequate emergency fund, let alone meet their fancy goals. And to top it all off, night shifts. Imagine you are in a fantastic
Yeah, that's true. I think again it comes down to not picking up a lot of at least when you're in the early stage, not picking up a lot of liabilities. Now, I know that a lot of people come from very unfortunate situations. That's very unfortunate. Like they have no other choice. But let's say if you're a person who do not have some major liabilities, don't pick up liabilities because of seeing others. Your life is very precious to just be lived on like a machine, like a rat.
relationship, but you work a night shift. Your partner works 12 hours in the morning while you work 12 hours in the evening. Believe it or not, this increases the likelihood of infidelity by 80%. A British law firm that handles civil cases reported this. And the
Yeah, because there's no time of real bond forming. So again, priorities come because how long do you want to work in such settings where you're prioritizing your relationships? Let's say if you're married, your kids, and things like that. So that's of course a conscious choice on a case by case basis.
gravity of this truly hit me when I was discussing the current dating scene with an acquaintance of mine who works a night shift. She said the thought of dating someone feels so foreign because I have no social life outside of my office. I start work at 8 p.m. and end it at 4 a.m. I sleep throughout the
Yeah, that's close to 8 hours. I don't know. Yeah, then other things also need to be managed. The stress of going to office, a lot of things come.
day. But all of this had to do with the workspace. The second biggest problem right now has to do with Indian society. To make things worse, many people in India are married to people they don't like. 93% of marriages in this country are arranged.
And I think this marriage culture also comes from parental pressure and things like that. So one should be very clear as to why is it that they want to marry because a lot of things is also biological. Like at a certain stage, your body is bursting with hormones, so you also need to just take in account of that.
which is super problematic because instead of looking at factors like shared interest and compatibility, we are looking at things like caste, social status, income. We've lost the whole plot.
That's true. A lot of other factors which are being enforced upon us by others.
Healthy relationships are where you're able to sit with this person in a room and do nothing. That is the
And I think a good metric, yeah, as this gentleman had mentioned, that let's say if you're even in your friendships, can there be a comfortable silence or the silence becomes weird? That's also a very good metric. This constant urge to speak all the time shouldn't exist. People should be very comfortable in silences. That is how you gauge the strength of, let's say, a genuine relationship.
person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Sadly, in India, the reality is nothing like this. After marriage, once the honeymoon period has waned off, you are living with your wife, but there's no relationship there as such. You don't share a lot of things in common. There's very little to talk about. But at
Yeah, because I think the relationship is formed on, let's say, very physical need, that a physical need should be fulfilled. But of people don't see, like, from a long term thing, that what is it that I'm genuinely curious and passionate and interested in, because that requires self reflection and self work. And not a lot of people are wanting to do that. So that's also the reason. Once that honeymoon period, aka the physical intimacy period, wanes off, we see there's no other thing to relate to. Now, of course, it can be on a lot of other factors, but that is what I have seen in general. That the biggest factor is, of course, this physical thing. Once it goes off, a lot of things go haywire.
work, on the other hand, you have a social life. You work with people who are similar to you. You do the same things. You bond over bosses that you hate. You have amazing office parties and offsites. There's a work hard, play hard culture, often accompanied by alcohol and music, which makes you lose your inhibitions and manifests itself into cheating. If you think this is far fetched, 89% of corporate employees in Mumbai city reported attending such parties purely to seek physical.
Okay, do you party to let off steam? I don't know. Do you seek physical comfort? Do you believe in safe? Let off steam can be stress or the other part. I don't know. What is it? I'll have to read this.
Comfort from the opposite sex. Believe it or not, Times of India reported that in India, 3 in 5 men and 4 in 5 women believe that
Okay, women believe more in cheating than men. That is super weird. But of course, from a woman's point of view, they're always looking for the best option. That is unfortunately how it's been coded in their DNA.
cheating isn't a sin. In a country where love and commitment are considered
Hmm. Cheating isn't a sin. Okay.
sacred. And the consequences of cheating can be brutal, literally. Look at this cute couple. That is Sonam and Raj. Look at how
Then don't enter into marriages, because I see that I don't know. Women have this thing. They want all the perks of being single and also this security that comes with marriage, so that they can show to society that now everything is going well. So this is like super super weird. I can never understand such patterns and habits. Of course, not every woman thinks so, but in general, that's the trend that I have seen.
in love they look. And the love went a little far because Sonam was on a honeymoon with her husband and she, along with Raj, hired 3 hitmen to
Yeah, I think that this was a very major case, but I just don't like following all these cases now because of the Atal Subhash thing that had happened. I think the laws haven't been updated. These laws really need to update because it feels like a one-sided battle against men.
have him killed. And if you think this is a one-off instance that went too far, you aren't ready for the big picture. The National Crime Records Bureau reported that affairs were the third biggest reason behind murders in India.
And yeah, please note that these are the cases that are actually being reported. I think the unofficial data would be much much higher.
And of course, no one wakes up and says, today seems like a great day to hire hitmen and kill my wife. It all starts with
I don't know. That requires a different type of psychology or bent of mind that you're willing to go to such lengths. I don't know what's the psychology of people who can do such criminal things, but yeah.
the tiny moment of loneliness, a need for validation, a cry for attention that went unanswered. For every extreme instance like Sonam's, there's a million other people stuck in unhappy relationships. So how do we fix this? Primarily at the societal level, we need to fix the state of our
I think more important than fixing the corporate culture is fixing your own inner being, seeing what is it that you want, what is it that you don't want, and being ruthless about your values and principles rather than just compromising at things and then just seeking validation from an office setting or from the outside people.
corporations. If people are to work on their relationship or their love life, they need to have the time
But
in
I
the
understand what perspective this person is coming from. But then again, the practical realities as to how things work generally right now are very different. We know how difficult it is to, let's say, change a law and bring that into practice. So find something that genuinely speaks to your heart and something that you can genuinely be proud of. So ideally, I think a lot of business marriages also exist. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that is where mutual interests come in. Because another line of wisdom says that never mix your personal and professional life. But right now, what is happening? The data just speaks otherwise, right? That people are neglecting their personal life and working so much on the professional life that they're trying to make a personal bond in the professional setting as well. So I think these discussions need to be taken up. But yeah.
first place. And that would happen with better labor laws that don't promote overworking the population. Working 70 hours a week, not sleeping in
I think more important than that is reducing the number, not taking the decision to, let's say, marry or not have kids, because population is the biggest thing. Because from a business owner perspective, you always have this option. There are like 100,000 different people who can just work at very cheap labor. So you'll have to just gauge. And again, that discussion comes at that. Do you want to be an employee for the rest of your life? Or do you also want to become an owner in your life? So these questions also need to be thought of.
enough isn't a flex. Weekends and work life balance aren't Western imports. You need these things. We also need to redefine two things. First, marriage. People need to be doing it not for monetary or social gains, but to find a life partner for love. It's about time both boom
I think once there is self love, eventually it would flow into all different directions rather than just filling the hole and void within from some outside entity.
boomers and Gen Z snap out of this arranged marriage sham. The second thing is redefining success such that this definition is also outside of your workplace. Corporate progress isn't everything. And if this progress doesn't come without forming intimate relationships with your superiors, you don't need it. Your worth
Yeah, because it's a long term cost, long term regret that you're taking in life. Because you can never say proudly, let's say, to your loved ones, to your children, if you have that, like, I've not done any bad things in life and things like that. So you're just trading the long term for the short term. So that's what it is.
isn't tied to your designation.
And
Success
I also not having such a void that corporate success or the jumps in ladders is the only thing you tie your self esteem to. There are many, many bigger pursuits in life, but I think that's a different discussion again. Of course, working hard, let's say, in the corporate is also important from that perspective that you learn to work hard and just understand how work generally comes. But that is just one of the battles in life. There are a lot of other battles in life. Like, of course, one wouldn't sleep with their bosses to. It's happening right now, but if you're a person of self-esteem or on that part to get some high self-esteem, make a high self-esteem, you wouldn't do such things.
is also not a fancy car, a bag, or a luxurious vacation that you would go to any extent for. Success is to be able to see your children grow up, experience love, to have time
Yeah, and a lot of parents I've seen have this regret that when their child was small, they were never able to see them. Uh, when they walked in the home, he or she was always sleeping. When they walked out, they were always in school. So there was not any healthy parental bond forming. We never spent time with our children. So that's also one of the reasons I feel that if you have so many other things going on the side, don't jump on all the boats. See which boats you really need in life and just give fully in that.
on your hands. Moreover, a lot of cheating happens when we aren't able to communicate well. Instead of saying, I feel neglected, we say, you don't care. And the reason we do this is because there's no comfort between partners. And when there isn't comfort, you start seeking it elsewhere.
And healthy relationship disagreements. I don't know, seeking counseling also is a good metric. But seeking genuine counselors, because a lot of BS also exists. So you have to be just willing to experiment. I think with relationships in general, I've seen that there's always that sense of freshness that keeps the relationship alive. So both the people need to constantly reinvent themselves again and again. It's not that now you have found a certain part and a certain job, you are just stuck at it. A lot of growth needs to happen all along. That's the secret, I feel.
So start by building that comfort, by finding shared interests, doing activities together, having no phone time zones. Effort is
Yeah, please. I think if you're married and whatnot, just keeping this social thing, the social phone thing out is very important. Just genuinely bond with the person if you have committed, and even if you are wanting to commit, see the depth that the other person has.
what would keep your relationship alive, and without it, the cheating epidemic would never end. Now, I was about to end the video, but I'd like to share the best relationship advice I have ever received. It's one sentence. Love is a choice. You aren't the most attractive or interesting person in the room, and frankly, neither is your partner.
Yeah, it's a choice to, I think, just prioritize your own self, your own long-term happiness. And once you do that, you'll see that what's best. Is it cheating? Is cheating the best, or just nurturing that bond with my partner the best? Self-love is also important.
There will always be someone better, but love is a choice that you make to stay, to celebrate and appreciate your partner as they are every single day. And maybe
Yeah, not having some high expectations which we have picked up from the outside metric, but of course having that pursuit of always bettering oneself. That's also very important.
all of this cheating is proof that this advice is the truth. People want something real, but they're only looking at temporary, short term solutions. So why not put in the work and find the long term solution that actually works? How do you think we can
I don't know. Another long term solution. I think it all just comes down to self growth and self love. Because the more inclined you are to build yourself, better yourself up, the right people would eventually stay. You would not have to please and get into such petty things wherein you're just trading all your long term, let's say, relationships with your wife, children, because then they'll see you as an a hole if you are engaging in such acts. And this goes for both the wife and the husband.
solve this crisis? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you learned something new from this video, consider subscribing to the channel, as that's what keeps us insanely motivated.
Okay, that's a good video. I think you should also check out some other videos. But yeah, I'm glad my subscriber shared it with me. So, what are I think 2 to 3 cents I would like to add towards the end of the video. So, one very important thing is I think the more financial independence people are getting, the more they feel that they can leave people, mm, leave their partners who have built them up. You see a lot of cases happening across both the genders, which I feel is weird because if a person has stayed with you, let's say, in your tough times, when you're just trading that off due to some short term pleasure, short term hookup, then that's weird. And this work husband, work wife phenomena, which I mentioned, I just never don't get it. So, having proper boundaries that there's a line that needs to be honored for my own self-esteem. Let the other person go to hell, but for my own self-esteem, for my own sanity, I need to prioritize my own long-term integrity. I wouldn't get into such things. So these principles are really important. And if you feel that you need to do certain things to grow, let's say sleep and do XYZ things, probably you're not at the right place or doing the work that genuinely feels personal to your heart. So that's very important. And I think a core message of my whole both the channels is just living authentically to whatever capability you can, not having this double life like we do on social media. Same double life exists in the corporate space. Probably work is your life. So I'd made one more reaction video. I link it wherein I talk in detail about work. You can also check that out. But I think those are my 2 to 3 cents. What do you feel about it? I would love to hear your take as well. But it was a good video, interesting video. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next video. And yeah, do hit that like button if you liked it. If you disliked it, do hit the dislike button. Do comment whatever you feel. And let's stay awesome. I'll try bringing these videos, but please, the most important thing is you write in the comment section what limitations you have broken, the type of work you're doing, and how you're contributing positively to the world in your own way. And yeah, that would be it for me. This is Debashish Pindra from Debu Ki Dastak signing off. Cheers.